Hello. Hopefully we're live now. I don't know. Still waiting. There. I think we're live on YouTube now.
Hello. Give me a sec. Let me put some more light on in here.
Tom, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh. Actually, you don't hear me at all?
Nope.
That's weird. I checked my mic. It says it's working.
I can see you.
Did you
Can you
turn
hear me?
down your... Did you turn it down?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Did you turn down your speakers?
Okay. For some reason, I don't hear you on my laptop, but I can hear you on the TV.
Hey, it's something. We'll work with it.
I have no idea what you are saying. Anyway. Oh, the technical difficulty gremlins are alive and well today.
Yeah, this is going to go interesting.
Oh, goodness gracious. These were not the problems I was expecting.
There's always something.
Well, how about, because I was actually thinking about this, how about we just go ahead and go to a sprint so you and I can figure out what we're doing.
Nice move.
Yeah, so then it's like, well, now let me figure out how to share a screen. Okay.
Sounds like a good idea.
Do you not think that did what I meant it to do?
You definitely shared part of your screen, I think.
I just, real quick, want to remind you that I have no idea what you were saying. No clue. I know you're talking. We may not even get to do. Okay. Your browser has blocked your screen. Click the screen icon to allow access. Okay.
You can do it.
Oh, it's Inception time.
There we
Let's see
go.
if that works. Nope. Okay. I'm going to do this, mute that, and we're going to do a 15-minute timer.
All right.
Oh, dear. I can see I needed more practice.
That's why we make no
I
promises
have
for
no
this
idea
one.
what you're saying, dear. So I can show the timer this way. So I guess let me mute myself. How did everybody do? Hey, Abigail. Hi. How did everybody do? Hey, Abigail. So, if everybody hasn't figured out, I am still figuring out StreamYard, and it is hilarious.
Phone. But hey, at least I'm here.
We're glad you joined us for the Comedy of Errors.
Yep.
All right. Tom, I still can't hear you because of the delay on the TV.
Oh boy, this is gonna be fun.
So anyway, I have also added my tablet, which is the other one. Let's see if I could. Yes, you can. In the hopes that maybe like I could figure out how to use the tablet to share screen. But now I realize I'm trying to juggle too many things and that this is just a hilarious disaster. And I'm like so amused and yet also just wanted like, let's just end this and I can go private. I can figure this out. But on the other hand, like, you know, maybe if someone else saw this, they'd see like, it's okay to fail spectacularly. It's not the end of the world.
Truly.
And also be warned about problems with StreamYard. I'm appalled that the videos I read about StreamYard were like, oh, it's so easy. It's so user oriented. And I'm like, no. Well, I'm glad that you're liking it, Abigail. This was not the entertainment I was planning, but I guess at a certain point it's kind of fun because Tom is literally in his bedroom and I can barely hear him through the door, which is the only reason I know when he's talking. So it is super fun.
You just seem so human now.
Yes, it's true. I absolutely hate pedestals. Oh, thank you, Abigail. That makes me feel so much better that I am not the only person to just like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I actually already practiced StreamYard by myself. I've already done one video by myself. I had no idea that I had no idea how bad I could be at this. Till now.
Remember, nothing goes wrong till you actually try to do it for real.
That's true. I mean, like, I practiced the mic with a friend yesterday. I practiced StreamYard a couple weeks ago. And then I practiced StreamYard again watching Jessica Williams' video on doing StreamYard. I watched that twice now so that I can be sure to be super prepared. And yeah, no, it is not working. Let's see. Those options are not helpful. Just for the sake of me feeling better, Tom, why don't you try saying something one more time?
All right. Let the show continue.
Nope.
We're not quitting yet.
I am absolutely befuddled why I cannot hear you. It's probably some super easy fix if I just had time to research. But since I can't research while sharing my screen for the timer, I'm totally out of options. But anyway.
Yay.
Well, Abigail, if you've got any suggestions, I am totally ready. What you got? I would invite you into this StreamYard, but I'm concerned that I especially could not hear you then. Or would you like to try? Because sometimes a clown car needs more clowns. Okay. Okay. So, well, really? How could it get better? Please feel free to share.
This is as bad as it gets. It can only get better.
Is this actually as bad as it gets? Would like the worst version be where I think I'm live and in fact this whole time it's not been broadcast?
No, because then it doesn't exist and there's no record. You'd be better off.
Thanks. I feel I don't know. I feel neutral about that. I don't feel better and I don't feel worse. Okay. Okay, Abigail, let's see. You're on Instagram, and I can send that to you there, I think. Tom, please feel free to talk.
Well, as we once told another friend, we grew up but a wall apart all our lives, not realizing we were related. We have literally been mistaken for strangers and for twins. And I don't understand why. Truth be told, this really is just a fun test to see. I mean, we talk all the time, every night. Our usual, usually about the woes of no one around us likes Doctor Who. The world's insane. And who's got the latest, best dachshund pictures and videos? Because you can't go wrong with dachshunds or corgis. They're beautiful and they're silly. I've been trying to get Glory to write for, a couple months, like actually write out something as she's been feeling better. And then in return, she's been like, well, why don't you start? So, hence.
Hello.
Why don't I? Are we back? Are we here? Hey! And we've got more people.
What if it's just my laptop? How do I make someone else?
Then it's a conspiracy.
Let's see. Is there a way?
Have you tried headphones?
Abigail, are you talking?
I am right now.
Oh, we've lost her. I swear I didn't do it.
Can you guys hear
There.
me? Hello?
No, you know what? It must just be me. Somehow.
Yeah, I can hear her. I can hear Abigail just fine.
So maybe it's just your laptop.
I wonder if it's got the speakers set to the mic.
Oh. Maybe.
You want to try unplugging your mic? All right. Can you hear me now?
Yay. And now I can't really hear you though.
Yeah, like I think you have to change your mic now, Glory. Come on. Nope.
Nope.
You're still nothing. Yes. We are still without you now. It's just so silent. Nope.
Nope.
Hey, since you've got 2 screens set up, why don't you enable the audio on the tablet?
Oh, hold on. Okay, let's see. I've got the mic on this one.
There, I can hear you fine now.
Yep.
Okay, hold on. I'm turning my mic up. Oh, this is like an adventure in incompetence.
You're doing
How
great.
many fixes to fix one problem? I'm losing track of the chain.
Okay. It's the worst episode of Inception ever. And my grass allergies are back. Okay.
Oh, I have those too.
Like every time the air conditioner blows, it's because I live in the woods. It's okay. How do I sound?
You sound great.
Yeah.
Because I'm hearing you through the tablet, but it's better than nothing.
That's what matters.
Oh, this is hilarious. Okay. Thank you for the handhold, Abigail, and welcome to the very awkward stream. I hope it delivers.
Thank you for the welcome.
We said it was going to be awkward. I
Hey,
figured we at least delivered 120%.
I'm pretty awkward myself, so I can't really help with that.
Right. I mean, so American. Not 100%, 120. Yeah. Okay. Oh man.
Now that we're sort of on our working.
Shall we
Do you
go
want
for
to take
another
a few
sprint?
minutes to collect yourself? And we'll
Yes.
go to another sprint. Give everyone a break from
The awkwardness?
yes.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I think we'll go with one of Sid's timers. I don't know why this thing's still going. All right. I was thinking Purple Glory, and, because I love purple, I'm going to claim that's the reason.
So can I make a suggestion?
Oh, please.
In the last sprint, I noticed you had the whole window shared. So every time you switch tabs,
Yeah.
it would go with you and go off the timer. So you can actually do it where you just have one tab and it just stays on the timer so you can do other stuff.
I was trying that, and things were not working well.
Really?
I had 3 Mozilla screen options: StreamYard, Mozilla Firefox, Firefox Sharing Indicator, and Mozilla Firefox, and then there's also entire screen. And I obviously the Sharing Indicator one, hilarious, but no. And we can try the Mozilla Firefox. It looks like what it's sharing is the pop-up chat. See?
Yeah.
And so let me try And so the other option was StreamYard, Mozilla, Firefox. And that's where an Inception. And that's whatever is on my screen shows up.
That's really weird. You should be able to have one where it's just pick a tab.
See, that's what I was thinking too.
Let me go in and see if I can find where that is on mine.
I'm honestly wondering if it's because I'm in Firefox and not Chrome.
That may be that.
Because
Yeah.
I thought I read some notification about a month ago on StreamYard about, you may experience some glitches with Firefox. But since when I got onto StreamYard, I wasn't experiencing that. I didn't worry about it. But now, of course.
Yeah, so when I go on mine, it says share your entire screen, application window, or Chrome tab. So I bet Chrome tab, that's the...
I bet it has to do with Chrome.
Yep.
Because I'm Rebel. Yeah.
So many things to learn.
Yep. So do you have Chrome?
Well, these are great questions. No, that's Microsoft.
I may not. Actually, I don't remember if I installed it or not.
Yeah, I don't. I'm like, it's not ringing a bell. Let's see.
You would have to pull up StreamYard on there and switch over and like exit out and go on there, even if you did.
Oh wait, there's Chrome. Okay.
Oh,
All right.
It's booting. I don't have anything to say.
This is an adventure. Adventure and awkwardness.
So exhausted.
You're doing great.
Thank you for saying that. I don't in any way believe you.
Hey, like I said, you don't watch mine.
I mean, like 3 minutes into this, I'm like, I couldn't just make this go private. Let's see.
I remember my first time, like when I saw someone actually popped up, I about peed myself because then I actually had someone watching.
Right. Well, that was the nice thing about when I did my first pop-up one. It was actually after midnight and nobody was around.
Thankfully, I found out later it was just my dad.
Oh, yeah. That works because you're like, hey, they've seen me at my worst.
Oh, yeah. So. I just rambled a lot, too.
I felt the same way. Your browser can't access your devices. Close any other applications that might be using your camera mic.
So, yeah, you're going to need to exit out of here.
Yeah, you have to close the...
Can I leave you guys?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you'll be okay?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
All right. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Well, that seems to
And we're
work.
all here,
Yay.
including your tablets.
Yeah, the tablet's fine. Okay. Now let's see.
I feel like that tablet's really set up to give everyone the pet/child experience. We're just seeing the side and up.
Well, also the grandparent experience, because it's how little of my head can I show, because I can't get this thing to prop up right. Stay. Maybe.
All right. Let's see if we can get this running in Chrome without it breaking.
This is great. I'm having fun. I don't know about you guys.
Are you having fun?
I actually am, yes.
I am actually glad about that.
Oh, we always have fun.
You know, that is something I worry about, is are people being just absolutely miserable, bored to death.
Nope, you're good.
You know, because it always seemed like boredom is the worst sort of punishment you can give somebody.
Yeah.
They're like, what am I doing? I'm wasting my life here.
Nah. Not wasting anything here.
But yeah,
Well,
we come from a family of storytellers.
This is Tom, my brother.
Hi, Tom.
How to how.
Abigail's a lovely person and obviously very kind and compassionate. And Tom is my longtime brother who, you know, I've had mixed feelings about, but now have come to be at peace and appreciate.
Only very recently.
That's how you know you really are siblings.
Oh yeah. We about a year ago we found out that a selenium deficiency can cause argumentativeness and emotionality and a lot of other things we've had all our lives. And
Hold up.
kill it.
I'm sorry. I'm trying.
Almost.
Well, I think that's actually the relay. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to turn off the audio on your TV.
The audio is off, actually. And the audio is off on my tablet. I've got the audio, my speakers off on the laptop.
Okay.
I'm going to try to start it back on one more time. On my
Actually, you sound fine.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have to turn off the audio on your TV.
The audio is off, actually. And the audio is off on my tablet. I've got the audio, my speakers off.
So maybe you can get rid of the tablet.
Okay. I'm going to try it. Y'all, I don't know where the echo is coming from on my end.
So you muted the tablet?
Yeah, I've got the audio entirely off of the tablet. I'm not hearing anything from it at all.
Well, seems to be working now.
Yeah.
So
What?
hopefully it'll stay that way.
Tablet.
Okay. Yeah, I've got the audio. Are you hearing any feedback now? From it at all? Yes.
Well, seems to be working now.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have headphones?
No, I don't have headphones, Tom.
Did you steal her headphones?
No, I couldn't find them.
Ah.
This gets really awkward when I cannot hear y'all on. I mean, let me try. Let me try turning. Nope. It must be because the speakers are working on this as well as on the tablet.
Yeah.
Do you need the, so you can you hear on the computer?
I mean, I've got the mic muted on the tablet, so I'm not sure.
Well,
Are
you
you
have
hearing feedback right now? At least not, because as I said, I can't hear you. Nope.
So why don't you mute your laptop?
It is muted right now.
All right, and now turn the speakers on. So have you also turned the speakers off on your laptop?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so turn the speakers back on your tablet.
Okay. Can you hear me? Now I'm hearing this again.
Yes.
Do you hear me right now?
Yes.
Because I literally muted on my laptop the speaker/headphone audio. Well, I'll tell you what, the second episode is going to be so exciting.
Well, do you want to try sharing the tab now for the sprint?
Sure, yeah, hold up, let me open that up.
One step at a time.
You'll get this. Don't worry.
One incredible baby step at a time.
Who knew each baby step could be so big?
Okay.
My dad always says, "How do you eat a steak? One bite at a time."
Mm-hmm. And it's a fun journey.
Mm-hmm. Especially with friends.
I see the Chrome tab now.
All right.
Yay!
Hey, look. We can see you, and it's running.
Oh.
All right. Be back in 15.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Look, it's almost running the way it's supposed to.
How about now?
Yep.
Yay! Now I can hear you.
Just fine.
One less thing. Okay. Okay. Let me make sure. Okay. So, what'd y'all do? I had the world's tiniest panic attack off screen. And then I drank the rest of my iced coffee and read about, what was it? Cthulhu monsters? A Peterson's
monsters?
Field Guide to Cthulhu Monsters. Or Cthulhu Monsters, whatever. The man's dead. I can pronounce it how I want.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So, and that calmed me down. Don't question that. Anyway. So, how did y'all do?
I did well. I checked my phone, and that's pretty much about it.
Sounds lovely.
I went and did some research to remind myself of an author in a series, because I thought one interesting thing to bring up, since part of this one is billed as, you know, two autistic siblings, is the, what would you call it? How we relate in some ways better with puppet characters and robotic characters because of their difficulty relating to humans. And so, like, one of the recent series I came across by coincidence, and I didn't even realize, you know, it's really associated right now with autistic, is the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells, about a security android. Think like, you know, what was it? The Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And how he just really wants to watch TV. He does security, but in his head, all he does is watch soap operas. That's his favorite thing. He is, you know, he's hacked himself. He doesn't have to do what anyone tells him. And what's he doing? Watching TV. And it's an entire series of stories about how he still keeps caring for humans. He can't help himself. He still has compassion. But he really would just like to be by himself and watch his favorite shows.
Well, I mean, I can definitely relate. I very much enjoy watching puppy cams and kitten cams and doggy daycares videos or doggy daycare cams because they're adorable to me, and yet their drama is not my drama. So I can see how maybe that might be sort of an analog to Murderbot. What a great name. But, like, I mean, like, most of autism at this point seems to wrap around communication problems or communication. They say disorder, but I think it's just more like a difference of communication. So, I don't know. I definitely relate to the Isaac Asimov positronic brain, like R. Daniel and the other sentient robots in the Isaac Asimov world. And then I don't know what it's called when it's not called fan fiction, but the robot stories from Dr. Calvin that they've made since Asimov's death. That was I can't remember the author's name who wrote them, but she wrote them in his world from the perspective of Dr. Calvin. And as she's developing the positronic brain. And I definitely could relate to actually both Dr. Calvin's perspective and the robots, the positronic brains that she's working with.
And that was also kind of leading me to thoughts of, and I think that's a lot of why we really enjoy Doctor Who, especially the more recent ones. Well, I mean, the sort of soft reboot set, versus, as you always put it, the Whirlpool box era.
Yes, that was how I was introduced to Doctor Who, was Tom Baker's Doctor Who. And hiding behind the couch, literally hiding behind the couch. And there's this scene, I can't remember what episode it is, because I was like 5. And they're fighting in a warehouse, right? And they're all like kind of, the doctor is fighting, they're all kind of hiding behind boxes. And you can literally see some of the boxes say Whirlpool on it. And it's supposed to be a warehouse in space somewhere. And I'm like, oh, did you know Whirlpool has made it into the future and is still going strong in another galaxy? Okay. And I've remembered it all these years because every time I see Whirlpool, I'm like, oh, that is the one to buy, because they are obviously so good they make it into the future. Was my child logic. So that's what he's referencing. But what was it about the soft reboot that struck you so much, Tom?
I think it's that the Doctor's continual problem of actually relating to humans. Like, he recognizes the emotions. He can even understand why they're having those emotions, but the Doctor's having totally different thoughts and feelings about it. And that's kind of what it's always my experience in life. Like, in our conversations, I'll often go, I'm at best 50% male. The other half of male behavior, I don't get whatsoever, and I never have. And to be perfectly honest, I have no interest in understanding it because it seems really dumb or worse. And, that was what, always kind of appealed to me about the Doctor, was just how, to be alien.
Well, it is true that there is a strong correlation among autistics, particularly the high-functioning autistics who are underdiagnosed, believing or feeling like they're aliens among humans. And I know that was true for me, too, even though I was diagnosed at 6. My parents decided to keep it a secret. I mean, I don't know. It's complicated. But nevertheless, in middle school, I used to tell people, I told everybody that, my parents were not, in fact, my parents, they're my aunt and uncle. And I made up stories that my parents were diplomats in other countries. And, frankly, if pressed, it was my parents are diplomats in other countries because I'm actually from Jupiter. And I regularly told people I was from Jupiter. Like at 11 and 12 years old, I told cashiers, I told everybody I was from Jupiter. And it was because I felt so alienated from the majority of people I met, the vast majority. And apparently that's actually a really common experience for high-functioning autistics, is to call themselves aliens or to feel like they are like aliens, hence that Doctor Who episode with the dolls in the dollhouse in Matt Smith's era. Do you remember Corey and Amy are with the Doctor and they go to this estate housing, public housing, because they got a message on the psychic paper, please save me from the monsters. And it was this little boy who's super scared of everything. And in fact, it turns out that, he has these exceptional abilities because he's like a cuckoo bird?
Yeah.
aliens have planted him in with this family to raise him, and I felt very similar, and apparently a lot of autistics feel similarly of like, I am not part of the rest of this world because the rest of the world definitely doesn't relate to me, and I'm struggling to relate to them. I mean, like, that episode, gosh, I can't tell you how many times I've watched it, even though it really creeps me out. I find the whole dolls who get you and then touch you very disturbing.
Yes.
Abigail?
Yeah,
Would
no,
you
I
like to talk about Doctor Who in any way?
can talk about it any way you want.
Please, jump in.
No, like, I remember that. Took me a minute to remember that episode, but I think it's because that is so creepy that I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the doll. And then there's one in David Tennant's era with the like the French when he's going through the fireplace. That one's similarly
Girl in the child.
Yeah.
What was it? The girl in the fireplace.
something like that. Yeah, and I love that one so much because as a kid I would totally be like, oh, can like some magic man come through my fireplace? That'd be great. But yeah, that one's creepy too for similar reasons.
Oh, yeah, because the dolls come out and they're here to chop her head off. Ugh. And they're also sleeping under her bed, which that's like right there with the, oh, God, I'm going to need to do nightly bed checks.
Yeah. And then them just like the ticking, like, you're like, wait, where's that ticking come from?
That was the girl in the fireplace was when what happened was Mom was going through cancer, and I was like, Tom, I need something to watch. I need something to take me out of this. I need a break. And so he gave me a hard drive with a bunch of things on it, and one of them was the 5th season of Doctor Who. And I tore through that and was like, yes, I want more. And he's like, well, let me make a file for you or a folder for you of the essential Doctor Who, everything before, in the first 4 seasons that you need to know to understand what's going on in the Doctor Who world. And I'm like, great. And the girl in the fireplace was one of them. And as was the Doctor Dances and Are You My Mommy? Or, the Empty Child, excuse me. Yes. And I was just so hooked by all of that.
That's the only episode of Doctor Who my mom remembers. Are you my mummy?
It's so disturbing. Also, Jack Harkness is hot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I love his smile.
John Barrowman, something else.
Yes.
I still love that, the awful scene and joke later on Satellite 5 when they've removed all of his clothes and then he brings out a gun and they're like, where did you hide that?
Oh, man.
Every time.
And based on everything I know, that's more John Barrowman even than Harkness.
Yeah. I just was like, yes, that is what I expect of a time agent. Mm-hmm. I expect them to be swashbuckling, shameless flirts. Yes.
Oh, he's something else.
Yeah, I miss him.
Yeah, I wish he'd come back.
Hmm.
Yeah, and also, I always like Doctor Who because it is a kid's show. It's for, elementary age. Like, it's not even, middle school or high school. So, same reason I like YA, you can't solve a problem with sex in Doctor Who. You actually have to come up with a solution that makes sense and works. And it's kind of why I've kind of tuned out the last 2 seasons, because the storylines have gotten a little bit mature.
I agree.
Which, that thing was super gross.
Which is really annoying because I really do like who's playing the Doctor now.
I know. I love Jodie Whittaker. Last night, I fell asleep watching St. Trinians. She's in The Bells of St. Trinians and what is it? The Search for St. Fritton's Gold or something like that?
Yeah, the Search for Fritton's Gold.
And she's great in both of them. And it was just so nice to see her, being Jodie Whittaker. And it's just so hard because I just do not have that same enjoyment level of the last 2 seasons of Doctor Who.
I think the writers have always had a hard time. I think even kind of in Matt Smith's era, but then kind of after, the writers really started to have a hard time with, what do we do now?
Well, it's also just remember the part of just like Knight Rider in the 80s and other shows of it's a kid show. It's not for adults. It's coincidental that adults like it.
Yeah.
But once you stop writing to the kids and just try and get them to watch the show while hiding behind the couch, like that should be every episode. Like that should be their goal.
Yeah.
You're still watching, but you're hiding.
A Monster of the Week show like Scooby-Doo for kids. And so it should be things that scare children, not things that scare teenagers or adults. Because the things that scare teenagers and adults really are terrible.
Right. And more serious.
And much harder to deal with or beat. I don't know.
Completely agree.
Doctor always comes back to save you.
Yeah.
Well, the doctor cannot save you from a terrible Amazon job, apparently. I'm like, why is this episode at an intergalactic Amazon warehouse? The bubble wrap will kill you. Really? The bubble wrap? Okay. A weapon of destruction. Yeah.
Forget the
Why
Daleks.
the one joy we have. Everybody loves bubble wrap. That's not something children are scared of. That's something they love because it is freaking fun. And that's like my problem with the last 2 seasons. Versus, I cannot tell you how many times I've watched Turn Left from season 4 with Donna. Yes. Like, I've watched it so many times.
Donna's my favorite companion.
She's my favorite too. Oh, I also love all her outfits. I love everything. But I mostly love her sass. Oi. Spaceman.
You just want a mate.
She's like,
no, I want a mate.
Like, yeah, that's what the doctor needs to be said, because he's had several companions who totally crushed on him. And he needs one who's just like, I am just here for the ride and the adventure. I am not here for some weird pseudo relationship with a spaceman.
You are the chauffeur style of companion.
Right. That's what I love.
You're the driver.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get me there. Make sure I'm safe. That's about all I care about.
Right, exactly. And I can absolutely relate to that. I'm like, I don't want to kiss him. I just want to ride.
Yeah. Or even in the one, isn't it like when he goes on the bus to see the diamond falls and the alien comes and he's like, they're repeating. Isn't that Donna? And Donna's just at the spa, like, chilling.
Just relaxing by the pool.
Right, because I was like, I'm not going on a tour for so many hours. I'm going to just enjoy the pool and drinks, yo.
Yeah.
I am not here for the adventures.
I'm not following you around like a lost puppy.
I love that.
Not to mention she was the only companion who actually like tracked down the doctor, like knew about the doctor and tracked him down and had no crush. It was just that's the best fun you can have. I got to find me that box.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, that really says something about Donna. She didn't need a whole group of people. Like, I think in the previous season with the Doctor Who Society, or what is it, the Society of the Blue
first season.
Was it? I thought it...
First or second?
Maybe the second season. Where it's got... the the woman who plays Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter.
Oh yeah.
And you know, all these other random people. I'm just gonna say it's random people. I don't know. And yeah, she didn't need a whole community and several years to track down the doctor. She just was like 6 months. Hello, I'm already prepared. I've brought all my suitcases with me.
Well, she had Granddad's help. she'd Wilfred.
But yeah, like that was. I love that about Donna.
I love how loyal she is to her family too. Like,
Yeah. Again, she's not trying to escape her life even.
yeah.
She just literally would like some breaks and vacations. And she is more than happy to tell everyone she knows she's on vacation. She will be incommunicado. Versus what was it, the pawns going, our friends are starting to notice we're looking older.
Yeah, they're noticing that we're aging really fast. I'm like, good Lord, how long have they been doing this? Jeez.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, they
honestly,
had bunk
I find
beds.
that- what?
Well, I mean, they did have bunk beds.
I'm not gonna, no. Anyway. I was just gonna say, like, by the time Angels in Manhattan happened, I think that they are look like they're pushing 40, if not older. I mean, like,
Yeah.
Roy is definitely dressing like a grandpa already in the cardigan thing and everything.
Roy always kind of act like a grandpa though.
Well, I mean, in fairness to Rory, he is over 2,000 years old, and I imagine it does eventually wear on a person.
Yes.
Because you're
And
like, been there, done that, fought everybody.
Cardigans are easier and more comfortable to wear than Roman uniform, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And what would happen to your psyche if you found out your child married the doctor? It would age you a bit as well.
Yeah, I would worry.
And your child's your best friend, and you didn't know it.
Awkward.
Yeah. Your delinquent best friend.
Yeah. Truly, that was a
So it
delinquent.
definitely speaks of how you raise them.
And think about all the conversations he and Amy and River had with each other. And that he's probably like, wait, I was having those conversations with my daughter.
Right. Like, I'm sure Amy, like, talked about with Melody the first time she kissed Rory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I do not want to hear that from my parents. No.
Or
No.
Amy talking about her and the doctor.
And all of her fantasies. Because she definitely had a bit of a flirtation thing going on.
Oh, yeah.
And then Melody grows up to marry the doctor. And it's like, well, that's terribly awkward.
So does that count as Melody stealing the boyfriend of her mom?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. I would say from Amy's perspective, she called dibs on the doctor. And Melody's like, nope, that one's mine.
You gotta be with my dad. Sorry. I need to exist.
Yeah, mom's gonna be with my dad, so he's totally up for grabs whether Amy realizes it or not. I'm gonna wear my hallucinogenic lipstick and have a great time. It's so super messed up, and I do really enjoy it.
Which is why I love it when I go to cons and stuff and I hear any guys talk derisively about soap operas and stuff. It's like, sci-fi is soap opera. It's all soap opera.
Yep.
You can do, honestly, it's more messed up than even soap operas because they can't time travel.
Yeah, I was hearing about the Witcher timeline and the stories going on. It's like, wow, that's impressive soap.
I haven't gotten into The Witcher.
Once Upon a Time's even worse.
Yeah,
Do you look at
I
their family?
jumped off on Once Upon a Time around the second season because it was just getting so insane, and that's where I left them.
I jumped off like the 4th or 5th season. But yeah. That family tree though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the things they were doing to each other was pretty terrible. And I mean, nary an apology among them. So what's everybody's fandoms while we're here?
I have a lot. Well,
Yeah,
I'll
join-
just show you the notebook I'm writing in. Maybe you'll appreciate this.
Awesome.
Oh, okay.
So it's Star Wars and Doctor Who combined. I love pretty much almost anything BBC. So I love Sherlock and Merlin and Robin Hood, their TV series that they have on there. Let's see what else. Oh, Marvel. And I mean, lots of books. There's a lot. Trying to remember them all. You guys can go while I think of more.
Okay. Well, so for instance, I'm only here because of the first Star Wars movie. Mom and Dad went on a date, and this was the summer that Star Wars, the original Star Wars, came out. And they lived in Ann Arbor. So, and it was a blockbuster. I mean, like an actual blockbuster. The wait line to get into the movie was 2 hours long.
Wow.
So the date was essentially waiting for 2 hours in an incredibly long line that I think went over a mile, and slowly moving forward in it. That was their date, was the 2 hours before they saw the movie. And then they saw the movie and they loved it so much they got back in line to go see the last showing of the day. And yeah, that's when Dad, pretty much decided he was going to propose to Mom.
Wow.
So they saw it 2 times in one day, and we're talking about all their hopes and dreams about the future and what they wanted for their future and for, their future kids. And they agreed on so much. And also they were just so inspired by Star Wars. So, 4 hours of talking and 4 hours or so or whatever of watching it. And that's why I am here.
Wow.
And therefore, that is why Tom is here too, eventually. A couple
I'm
years
surprised
later.
you guys aren't named Luke and Leia then.
Oh, thank God not.
Well, the youngest, kind of.
Yeah, the youngest actually, her Jewish name is Hanalea. And her legal name is Laylee. So she kind of is.
So you guys from Michigan then? Because you said Ann Arbor.
Well, I was born in Ann Arbor, outside of Ann Arbor, but Tom was born here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast.
Okay. Because I was born in Michigan as well.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Where in Michigan? Out of curiosity, mostly.
Right out suburb of Detroit.
Okay. Mom was from Deerfield and Southfield. That's where she grew up.
Yeah, my mom was raised in Redford.
Okay.
Right outside of Detroit.
And
yeah.
Dad was born in Dayton, Ohio. So interesting with the football. Anyway, I'm not even going to get into that. I've heard it's very controversial. But I was born in Ypsilanti.
Okay. I was born in Milford, which is not far, more even further out from Detroit than Redford.
I'll put it this way: I've seen the sign for Milford.
Okay, well then.
When visiting relatives as a teenager.
So, yep, that's right around where I grew up. So.
Yeah. I mean, it looked nice from what I saw driving through with my uncle. I think I said something of oh, is this where It's a Wonderful Life is set? Because I'd only seen it once or twice by that point. And he's like, is it? Okay. Keep track. because it looked at the time anyway, in the early 90s, it looked pretty idyllic from what I saw.
And also, our family is just raised on movies.
Yeah.
Our father recorded movies. He actually edited movies with two VCRs to make them acceptable for our kids.
Also, sometimes he just edited because he thought it was slow and boring.
Yeah, and I now know that urge as I've gotten older.
Yeah.
To just, if I can just, I'll shorten this scene and I'll shorten that and it'll just be better.
Because sometimes it's just a few seconds on the ends of each scene that make it drag. It's just like you just feel the time as nothing happens. And that was like you just literally just trim off and just give it better flow. I mean, he didn't edit all of them for moral reasons, but he did edit some of them for moral reasons.
Well, thankfully now you don't have to do that.
Nobody believes
there's software. There's software to be able to wipe all that out.
Yeah, he did that the old-fashioned way.
Good for him.
Very patient man. So, I mean, he's passed away since then, so we feel totally fine talking about it. It's not
I talk
that
about my parents. I mean, I talk about my parents now and they're alive, so.
Yeah, we pretty much talked about them when they were alive, too. It's just, YouTube was young and fresh.
Although, speaking of Star Wars, I have to say that now that they've restored, the fans have restored the original Star Wars to what it looked like in the theaters, it's like, oh, okay, this makes a lot more sense why it won these awards and why everyone kept watching it, because all these edits they've done just really have just made it worse. And like they ruined the color of it and everything. I'm like, but once we got to see like the fan restored, we're like, oh yeah, I'd still watch this movie.
The fan restored version really looks amazing, I have to say. I mean, I can understand why Dad saw it 8 times that summer.
Yeah, their second date was going again to see Star Wars.
I love it.
They were just, they were really into it. And honestly, I mean, I think he technically toe dip proposed before they got into the theater for the second time that day. He was like, what do you think about marrying someone like me? And Mom's like, I would be open to it. And he's like, great. I'd love to like take you out to lunch or something sometime soon. She's like, sure, when? Like, let's nail this down. And so they had a date a few days later, and by the end of the week, they were officially engaged. And within 3 months, they were married. I am not saying I necessarily approve of this method of quick marriage, but I mean, they did technically know each other before. They just had never dated before.
I see.
When it clicked, it clicked. I mean, they were married 18 years, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, like our family, like our discussions, our vernacular is movies and TV. I mean, because Dad was also autistic. He and I pretty much mostly conversed in musicals. We would literally just sing parts of songs to each other. And that went on for like, I don't know, 15 years. I mean, since, I remember being 4 years old and Dad getting the soundtrack to Oliver, the 1970s version, the big musical. And he would play the album and have me stand on a coffee table while he lip synced Who Will Buy These Sweet Red Roses and also Child for Sale. And then there I was like, look all sad. Oh, it's Child for Sale. If only someone will buy or rent me. And that was how we started really communicating.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was super adorable. It's a lot of sugar. But yeah, that's like, I mean, how our family talks about stories, like, oh, well, this relates to this story, or is that what you're experiencing? I mean, and it became a problem for me as a teenager because I started reading a lot of books that my family was not reading because I was a voracious reader. And I essentially sort of lost touch with my family because I wasn't watching the media, the TV and movies they were watching, because I was so busy reading. And it took, my mid-20s for Tom to get me back into watching TV and movies again so that I could really talk to my family, because that's the language of our family, was TV and movies. Of course, Tom came halfway by reading all the science articles I sent him so we could talk about science too.
Yeah, autism goes really far back, especially, well, probably on both sides. But on our father's side, he told us about how his grandfather and father, and even before that, communicated by, they would send envelopes of cut articles to each other.
Newspaper
and newspaper clippings, so they would have something to talk about and discuss.
I love that.
Of like before Pinterest was ever a thought.
Certain sections underlined, highlighted, notes made along it. So like not just, but also here's my initial commentary. So when we see each other in person, we have something to discuss. Like that's been going on like maybe 100 years or more in our dad's family, as far as the newspaper clippings and letters to go with it.
I love that. I think it's a great idea because I love talking about stories too and how they relate to how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, ideas and concepts. So I think that's what I love about stories, is that they kind of just bring us together and connect us. So I feel like that's a very obvious example, like a great example of just how powerful stories are.
I feel
We are
like
wired for story, it's true.
Yeah. I always feel like one of the things that's really not understood and not communicated well to generations as they're coming up is why we have soap operas and why we have and why we go to see movies and other stuff with each other and why we have small talk. And it's so you can figure out what the mores of the other person you're talking with are and to get your ideas across without it being something personal. Because if you tell something about yourself, then any comments another person has can be a very personal attack. Versus if you're both talking about, some character, an imaginary person, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing emotional about it, but you can both, really understand each other a lot better. And because whenever I hear people like, I hate small talk, it's like, well, that's how we figure out if we can be friends, is small talk.
I don't know that I would consider talking about TV shows and stuff small talk. When I hear small talk, I mostly think of the weather is nice today.
But again, even that is still an emotional gauge to see how you respond.
Sure. Yeah.
I've met some people who, when you say, I love the clouds, they're like, oh, it's too sunny. I always hate it when it's, they immediately start with a negative barrage. It's like, oh. So it is small talk, but it has a use, at least for me to understand the other person's mindset, at least that day, their mindset. And yeah, I will branch out into, so have you read anything lately? Have you watched anything? What do you think about it? Because the thing, no matter the show, even if I've never seen it or never had an interest in watching it, hearing someone talk about it tells me what they value, what they're interested in, and how they feel about it. Are they going to want to talk about the positive sides, the negative sides, the exciting bits, whether they approve of it or not? I remember it used to boggle my mind as a older kid, like upper elementary, when I would ask this question, because that was how my parents trained me, to ask people what they watch or what they've read. and they would talk about, oh, this terrible soap opera I've been watching. Oh, the people are just awful. I can't stop watching it. I'm like, I don't understand. They seem like they hate it, yet they can't stop. What is the draw? My parents having to try to explain this. Yeah, it did not go well. It took me many more years to understand that you can disapprove of everything every character is doing and still be like, but I can't wait to see what happens next.
You love to hate it.
And that was like a really good lesson for me to understand about people, because again, that did not make sense to me.
Yeah.
I think I was probably in my early 30s before loving to hate something was something I experienced personally, of like, oh, this is just absolutely terrible, but I have to know how it ends.
Yeah.
Let's see. I too love Marvel. I have to admit that I do love select Disney shows like Gravity Falls and Star versus the Forces of Evil and Phineas and Ferb.
And the Owl House.
Oh, the Owl House. Yes, that's a new show, and I am loving it. Honestly, my real hardcore fandom is probably still Discworld with Terry Pratchett, which is really rare to find anybody in America who's into Pratchett much, or has even necessarily heard of Terry Pratchett, even though he's actually, isn't he like a better selling author than J.K. Rowling? Like worldwide.
He's better selling than the Bible.
Well, J.K. Rowling is also better selling than the Bible, so. Or She Who Will Not Be Named, now that they're, I mean, I
need to have a whole conversation about that.
In her, so disappointed. Trans rights matter, but nevertheless, it just meant in popularity that he's better selling. That's all I meant. And I love Discworld.
Yeah, I have not read anything by Terry, but I have heard about it quite a bit, and actually have it like written down right here. Go, look him up, because Charlie Dorset talks about him all the time, and it's like, so you should have a conversation with Charlie.
So here is the caveat everyone should be told about Pratchett.
Okay.
And it's not one you're expecting, I swear.
Okay.
Talk to someone who really loves Pratchett and tell them what kind of books and stories you like. And then they can tell you what set of stories to start with first. Because Pratchett, in this one, location world, wrote a lot of different genres, from police to high fantasy, young adult, women, women, teenagers, just a lot of different genres. And so it's like, talk to someone first, find out, so they can figure out what area you might be interested in. Because if you read something else that's totally unrelated, unless you're already just interested in the world that he wrote in, it'll very quickly be like, I don't get it. Because the first story I ever read was, I think, Small Gods, and it was just so wordy and not anything I was interested in at the time. I'm just like, why does anyone like this? And then I found the fantasy stuff, and I was like, oh, this is really fun. This all works. It's quirky. It's interesting. It actually talks. Terry Pratchett was a journalist, pretty much by trade, and a researcher. So every story is about human behavior and how humans act, and trying to essentially teach everyone everything he learned through his stories. But yeah, say talk to someone who really likes Pratchett before you start on it, reading any book.
Okay. Good advice.
Yeah, because if you're not into police procedurals, you're not going to enjoy the watch heavy books. But if you hate witch stories or witches or old ladies, then you're going to not like the Weird Sisters sub-story arc. And so it just really depends on what you're into, because he just had a world, and he wrote a variety of genres, essentially, or subgenres in this world. And so he really runs the gamut. There is something for everybody in Discworld, or practically everyone. But you do have to know what you're looking for, or else you could end up with something you're like, I'm not into this. I mean, he's also even did a couple cozy mysteries. I mean, it's odd. But it's fun, because essentially it's cozy mystery in a fantasy world where there's magic, but there's also practical people and logical stuff too. So it's fun, but it's different.
Wow. That's
and also,
amazing.
He doesn't do chapters except in his YA novels. So you might be like, this is really good. As soon as I get to the end of chapter, I'm going to put it down and go to sleep. And then there you are at 3 a.m. going, what happened? So I didn't figure that out till 3 books later. Like, why is it every time I read Pratchett, I'm like sleep deprived for days? And it was because I wasn't noticing, because I also have ADHD. I was not noticing that the chapter goes on for like 100 pages because there's no chapters. I just would keep falling asleep with the book on my chest.
He sounds brilliant.
Oh, he is.
He's so I cried when he died, and I'm not a crier. I mean, to be perfectly honest, when Mom passed away, I didn't cry because I was already expecting. I'd already did my crying before. But when he died, I did cry, even though I knew, he was terminal before, but it still made me so sad, because that's, the end of his stories, except for The Crown. He came out with one book afterwards.
Another thing, though, is if you have Amazon Prime, I think they have at least 2 movies they made from his stories, and he was already so well loved and everything that he was part of making the movies. So they're fairly accurate to his stories and storytelling style. I think Hogfather's on there, which is a Christmas one.
Several of them are on Amazon. Yeah, there's The Color of Magic, there's The Hogfather, and there's Going Postal. Am I forgetting ones that are on Amazon? Now, there is one on YouTube, Weird Sisters, and that's a cartoon one. And it's essentially sort of Pratchett's take on Macbeth, which is super fun. At least I think it's fun. I like Shakespeare, though. I like Shakespeare for the drama. I'm going to admit it. I like it for the drama. And so,
Yep.
And I love the Weird Sisters. I love Granny Weatherwax and Nanny Ogg so much.
Weird Sisters, it's a great commentary, kind of like if you ever saw Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead, which came out in the early 90s, which was, what was it, Hamlet from the perspective of his 2 college friends, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And It's a farce as well. But, I mean, it's kind of fun to see, an outside character's perspective on this story's ridiculous and everyone in it needs to learn to act better.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that now I think they're planning on coming out with the Watch TV series.
Yeah, it comes out next year.
Well, I was like, say, with the pandemic, I don't know anything anymore.
Let's hope next
Nothing
year.
is real and time is irrelevant.
Yeah. I know. How many years have we lived this year?
Oh,
I feel like I've lived 10, and the year's not over.
It's just a big ball of timey-wimey stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's somewhere between timey-wimey and Jeremy Bearimy.
It is a bit Jeremy Bearimy. it also kind of reminds me of that Terry Pratchett book with the Monks of Time.
It's a little
You
bit
know,
like
where they
Groundhog Day.
take time from certain places and then they give time to other places that need it. And so they're, I don't know. It's odd, but it's fun.
That sounds really cool.
It involves, you
Oh, it
know,
is.
a holy tryst of love between time and a monk. Anyway, I don't want to ruin things. It's weird. And then there's like the whole Transylvania stuff where there's Igors in there. Oh yeah, it's insane and it's a crazy fun ride. And I definitely could relate to that one since one of the characters has communication problems and it feels uncomfortable around people, and I definitely could relate to that. I'm not going to ruin anything for anybody, but if you like an adventure and you're already used to a lot of like magic and time and fantasy concepts, then you'll just enjoy it, you know.
That sounds right up my alley.
Well, I'll find that title there.
Monks of Time, you said, I think, right?
I don't think that's the
Yeah,
title.
that's not the title.
Let's see.
Well, that's a cool title. Either.
I mean, I still think about them all the time. Because like his what he was saying was when it feels like time goes on forever, like say third grade in history class, you know, that has to do with the monks of time, you know, stretching out the time there in order for them to give time to like say emergencies when people need an extra bit of time to save the world from falling apart. So essentially they're harvesting time. Let's see. Thief of Time. Yeah, that's the one. Thief of Time is the book that we're thinking of.
Cool. I will have to read that.
And that one is fairly separate, so you really don't need any outside reference.
Yeah, that one actually is a nice almost standalone. Like there is I think it's, let's see, actually the Wikipedia, they also show up under Night Watch and a little bit of Going Postal, but yeah, they're not necessary. Now I feel like Night Watch kind of is like a little brother book to The Thief of Time, but it's not necessary to know one or about the other, which is very nice. So yeah, Thief of Time is a good standalone one.
Gotcha.
Especially if you have any kind of like enjoyment or familiarity with Buddhist mysticism, since he sort of delves into that a little bit.
Okay. Sounds awesome.
I have listened to it and read it several times at a time. And Susan Death is in it. She shows up and she's just not having these problems. She's just so over it. She is the granddaughter of Death. And she's a really fun character. I like her very much. Tom and I debate which woman in Terry Pratchett's life is she most like based off of. Is it his wife or his daughter? We like to debate who it could, based on like documentaries and snippets and things we've read about them. Because Susan Death is just such a fun, relatable character. She's just so practical and down to earth, and yet, you know, her grandfather is Death, you know, in the cloak with the sickle and, you know, the white horse. You know.
Yeah, she is actually kind of a counterpart to I forgot her name, Melody Pond.
Yeah. Yeah,
in that, you know,
good point about that. Because she's
like
definitely a woman. She has self-agency, and she doesn't even let her grandfather tell her what to do. And it's just, yeah. So Susan Death shows up in a bunch of books, including The Hogfather, which you can watch on Amazon Prime if you have it, or other nefarious download options. I don't know what you're talking about. And she's just such a fun character. Wherever she pops up, she was, I think, after Weird Sisters, after the Witches, she was like my next favorite character to follow through books, because you do not have to read Terry Pratchett Discworld in order. That is not necessary.
Wow.
But anyway, so we're at the almost 2-hour mark, and I'm told StreamYard will cut off at 2. I don't know what they're doing.
Really? Because I've gone like 4.
Well, or at least the recording will stop at 2 hours or something, because I have a free account. So, but it has been a blast, Abigail. I mean, I've only just met you, and I'm so grateful. And also, you're obviously such a sweet, warm, compassionate, loving person to like, sure, I'll jump into your stream.
This was a lot of fun. I had a great time.
Well, thank you. I mean, that makes me feel a million times better. I'm so glad you had a great time. I think you definitely, enriched my time. I had a wonderful time with you, too. I mean, Tom, I get all the time. He's lovely, but, I can talk to him anytime. Versus this is the time when you and I get to talk.
It was lovely talking to you both and getting to know you.
I would love to do this again sometime if you're ever interested.
Absolutely. Let me know when and, well,
Yeah,
I guess I know where.
Yeah, well, yes, we do know where. The internet, because together apart. I do miss travel. I have to be honest. I don't even know where you live, but it's like, I miss travel so much. Like, Tom and I would just get in the car and start driving in a direction and then figure it out from there. And, it was like, well, we got 6 hours before sunset to figure out where we're going to stay tonight. I kind of miss, whenever we'd get stressed, that's what we'd go do. Like, really stressed. I mean, like, our world is falling apart stressed. We go travel. And this is the first time our world is falling apart that we don't get to travel.
Yeah, no, it's on my bucket list to do just a giant road trip where I have nothing planned. It's just by the seat of my pants, just stop when we want to stop, go where we want to go, take the exit we want to take.
Make bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Tom and I have made some seriously bad decisions while traveling. Like traveling from Chicago back down to Mississippi in one day, no sleep. Bad choice. Don't do that. It turns out your vision gets affected when you're really sleep deprived for too long.
Yep. That's what they said in driver's ed, at least.
So we've learned that one. Yeah, we've made a lot of bad decisions while traveling, but thankfully they weren't so bad that we're not still here.
Yay. Because otherwise I'd be sad right now.
Right. Well, what I'll do later is I'll put a link to your channel in the description so that anybody who has wandered by can find you, although I'm sure more people know about you than know about me, but nevertheless, would you like to tell anybody anything about yourself?
Sure. I mean, so I'm a fantasy writer. Well, actually, I write pretty much anything I feel like it, but right now I'm working on a fantasy series. And I actually have a premiere tonight that's my cover reveal and talking about the fantasy series. So
Awesome.
Yay! That's fantastic. Tom, would you like to say anything?
No, I had a great time. This is fun. I think we're going to be trying to do this weekly. And we'll probably stick to around Mondays just because it's my usual day off.
Yeah, I sort of backdoor guilted Tom into agreeing to do this for at least 8 times for a season. Hopefully by next Monday we will know. I will know more about how to do this. This is all me. This is all my mistakes. I mean, this is all my ignorance. But hey, learning curves.
yeah, we all got to learn somehow, right?
That was kind of my theory. So, it was like, please, Tom, do this with me. Because I've been offered for several weeks on various chats to be happy to co-host with anybody, and nobody even said, oh, I might be interested or anything. And I was like, well,
Well, I'll be messaging you. How about that?
Okay. That would be lovely. And, maybe we could do our own stream sometime. Probably once I have fewer obvious mistakes that I know I'm doing.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind messing up around Tom or messing up Tom's stream. Because he's my brother and, he owes me. But I feel bad if I totally crash doing a stream with other people, because it's like, oh, you were expecting professionalism. No. That's not here yet. Maybe one day.
I mean, I think the AuthorTube community is pretty gracious and kind. So hopefully you'll be fine.
I hope so. I mean, it's just one of those of like, well, I can't see how it would hurt to learn how to do these things. And one of the things that I eventually want to do is I used to write a fact-based, educational sex column years ago. The president of my university tried to get me expelled for it, in fact, because I was publishing it in my university newspaper. And, but it did make international news eventually. And I thought, well, it would be cool if I essentially, by the end of the 2 semesters of writing it, I had a whole sort of a loose template for how to tell nonfiction facts in an entertaining way quickly. Like you can only have 500 to 750 words to tell essentially whatever information you have and just cite 3 sources for us while keeping it entertaining. And I thought it would be cool to do a series where I go over each article that I had written and then diagram it so other people could learn how to. If you need to write a nonfiction for whatever, you can do this, and it works pretty well. It's pretty easy. Just plug it in, and then from there, obviously, you still put in your own personality, your own writing voice. But, at least take some of the, but how do I invent the wheel from scratch? It takes that part out.
Right. I think that would be really great. I think you should totally do that.
And then later I wrote for a regional magazine, and I did a lot of book reviews, and I came up with sort of a little template for that too. Only each book review was only about a paragraph long. And so it was like first sentence, second sentence, third sentence, and any extra jokes. This is how you do it. Because really, what is the point of a book review but to tell people what kind of book it is so they know what they're getting into, and then tell them why they want to read it. For those who would be interested. A book review really doesn't need to be any more than that, because people like to discover it for themselves. Don't give them the whole story away.
Yes.
So, and I know I've heard a lot of people stress about writing a book review even on Goodreads, and I'm like, no, seriously, it ain't rocket science, y'all.
Yeah, versus I think you pretty much got sold on A Thief of Time, with about 3 to 4 sentences of story knowledge.
Yes.
So that was the ideas I've had for future videos in some way. I don't know. I'm still learning how to edit videos, so the live stream just seemed like something I could get into early. Little did I know. Oh, darn Jessica Williams for making this seem easy when it obviously was not going to be for me.
Yeah. It is tricky, especially the echo stuff.
Yeah, the technical part. And I mean, I had practiced several times with several people ahead of time, and that's the whole thing about going live, is at a certain point you just have to go get your toes wet.
Yeah. You have to jump right in. It's not even getting your toes wet. It's full submersion.
Yes. Hope you know how to float. I could not have done it without both of you, and I so thank you, and you just don't know how relieved I am.
Well, if you have any questions about editing, I mean, not that I'm an expert, or StreamYard, again, not that I'm an expert, but if you have any questions, feel free to message me.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. I take people at their literal rather than some subtle, nuanced social thing. I don't have that.
Oh, I'm being completely serious.
What?
Seriously.
what program do you use for editing?
I use iMovie.
Okay.
So
I have a Hackintosh, so I can do that if necessary.
nice.
But it's been lovely. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you for letting me come on.
Wanderers who have wandered by. And I'm going to press this end broadcast and hope that that's all I have to do.
Should be.